What is up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to do a lake breakdown overview of a very, very large lake up in Missouri called Lake of the Ozarks. This one took us a really long time to break down. There's tons of stuff on this lake, from rocks to fish attractors to structures to debris to brush. You name it, it's got it all. River channel swings, bluff walls. I mean, this lake literally has it all. It is a great, great lake to fish. So let's take a look at this breakdown overview. Again, if you want all these waypoints, you can always go out to our website, simplisticfishing.com, and pick them up. We've got them in 3 different sections. You can see over here on the left side how we have it broke down. We've got Lake of the Ozarks North. That's going to be anything pretty much from the farthest northern tip all the way to where we get to where this little break area is. Let's go to where this sorry, I always say this thing wrong. We're just gonna do that. We'll call it Lover's Leap Bluff. Right there by Lover's Leap Bluff is where it stops, right? So that's gonna be your north section. We'll cover here in just a second. Then we're gonna have the west section. That's gonna be that Lover's Leap Bluff West. That's gonna be all this area up in here. Again, we'll talk about it in just a minute. And then we'll also do the south section. That's gonna be that bluff all the way south, so covering everything south. So giant lake. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're just going to start on the north side and work our way down. I'll show you over here. If you look over here on the left hand side over here, you can see how we have it broke down. So we've got it, the fish attractors, channels and ditches, cover and structure, offshore, ramps, and rock. Now, if you've been following Simplistic Fishing for a while, we actually marked all of the offshore fishing spots on this lake a long time ago, and the card that you could buy on the website was just for offshore fishing. And so what we do there is we actually go out and look at the contours on the lake and really mark all of the key high percentage areas that fish should be related to, such as humps, ledges, drops, points, all that good stuff that you can tell by looking at a contour map. We marked all of that, and then we put it in here too. So when you bring it into your graph, you've got all the detail for everything, including the offshore stuff. But on this lake, one thing in particular that I think you should really pay attention to, especially if you're fishing that northern side, is all the different attractors that are here. There's 2 different little areas where there's tons of attractors. The first one's gonna be way up here up north, and there's a ton of them up here. You can see all of them up here. There's a ton of fish attractors up here. So there's got to be something good up here, right? There's just got to be. You got that many fish attractors, you're bound and determined to find something good. So I would definitely pay attention to the fish attractors that they put out there. I know I say that a lot on these videos, but I'm telling you, these things are just, they're great places to find fish. That's why they're called fish attractors. And then also, as we move down here and we get down more to the southeastern side of the lake, we really get into another area back in here where it's very heavy with fish attractors again. So again, really good areas to fish. Lots of different attractors and things for you to fish around, so you know you're fishing in some primo spots throughout the lake. So if we go out and we look at, let's say, the south side as well, let's take a look at the fish attractors that we have on the south side, because there were quite a few there too. When you look at the south side, of course I got one up there I got to move, but we look at the south side, it's really just this one little area, like this little area right in here that has all the attractors. So if you're down here in the Niangua Arm, you're pretty much around a ton of fish attractors on this last little big turn. So take advantage of it, go do some scanning things, even do your forward facing sonar if you want. I mean, these are great places to go out and throw that little minnow and try to pull stuff off those piles. It's also good places to go Texas rig, all that good stuff. And then let's take a look at the west, since we're taking a look at the fish attractors. We look over here on the west side. There is some up here, but they're pretty far up here. So you got to come all the way up, and you got to get way up here before you really run into them. You get into this pocket right in here. There's 3 of them here, and then there's several of them right over here by Wingman Hollow. So if I'm fishing this lake, which I've never actually fished Lake of the Ozarks, believe it or not, and that's growing up in Missouri. I've never fished Lake of the Ozarks. That's nuts. But I would definitely pay some attention to those fish attractors, especially if it's the first time that I'm there. Now, the other thing that we see a lot of times too are bridges, roads, and culverts. It didn't look like we found too much on the north side, but we did find some stuff on both the south side and the west side. So here we go. We got some roadbeds here. These are key areas to fish around, right? If you can find these roadbeds and then just follow them out into the water, they can be really good. Now this one's probably not as good of a roadbed. That one doesn't look as juicy, but some of these can be really, really good. Anytime you find these roadbeds, you definitely want to fish around them and see what you can find. There's good rock around them, there's good cover, it's just really good structure for them to be around. So you got some there, and then of course on this side, on the west side, we got several more as well. Not too many, but you got a couple different roadbeds here too. And I'm sure we probably missed a few too, but these are the ones that we could either see or we knew would be fishable based on the depth that they were in. So some really good spots there. Do not count out your roadbeds. Those are really good places to find fish. Now we've also got all these channels and ditches. And so what we do is we go out, and if we can see the channel, we'll mark the channel with these green lines. So see all these green lines everywhere? And you're like, okay, Tyler, so that's great. I'm glad that you're marking the lines, but what good does that do me? Well, these are key areas. One, you can usually tell by looking at the green lines where the flats are. Now, not always. It doesn't always work out that way, but a lot of the times, the creeks are gonna flow into some type of a flat. Those flats, as you know, during springtime are great places to go find fish, as well as the fall, right? So creek channels there for just the green lines there is immediate. It's just boom. It's almost like you see the flats just so much faster. They just pop out at you. But the other thing is you definitely want to fish these creek channels, right? Find the channels and fish around the channels. Fish around anywhere you see a big bend. So if you see a big turn, you want to fish there. And especially if you see it turn and touch something like the bank line, those are key places to find fish. If you can find those creek channel swings all day long and fish those all day long, you're gonna catch fish. I guarantee it, because you're in a primo spot. So in this case, you know, obviously right in there, that's a really good spot, but just kind of following this channel. And if the lake was up, of course I go to the image where the lake goes down even further. But if you go when the lake is up, you're not really know where that channel is, but if you have the app or if you have the Simplistic Fishing card, you're gonna know that exactly. The other thing that I think to key on here is too, anytime you find these creek channels that swing over and come underneath a dock or very close to a dock, that makes those docks way higher percentage docks to fish than anything else around them. So if you're back here in this, what is this, Lodge Hotel, is that what it said? I can't remember what, it went away. Lock Haven. So if you're back here in Lock Haven, these two docks right here, probably going to be some pretty primo docks. You got a nice flat back here. It's all going to depend on the, you know, the depth of the water, but those look really, really good. And then if we swing up here to the north side, it's got some pretty good channels up here too. Now, my apologies, my internet cannot keep up with me when I'm on this Google stuff, especially when I'm flying. But look at these nice creek channels that are up here. You got a good bend that's coming right here, and then you've got a creek channel swing right here around this area. Come back in here, you got a nice little creek channel down there. Fishing around that bridge would be really, really good. Anytime you can find those bridges like that, those are money places. And you've got more back here, right? Some more creek channels, swings, some more turns and bends. You've kind of just got them all over the lake. So lots and lots of good stuff. I don't know if we covered the south, or we covered the south. Let's go up here to the west and just look real quick. I don't see too many channels up here that really stuck out, but there's one up here. If you come up here in this area, that's a really good creek channel, and notice it's coming really close to that point right in there, right? And also right in here. So again, key spots to go look at while you're out there. So let's go back, and we talked about all that. Let's talk about the cover and structure. Now there's a ton of cover and structure, right? It's just gonna be a bunch, so get ready, because it's gonna just populate the heck out of this screen. And now you can see throughout the lake all the different cover and structure. So if I just zoom in here a little bit, you're gonna see where you've got ponds, you've got brush, you've got all that good stuff. You got just regular structure, which could be some man-made structure. So all throughout, and these are all just key areas where you should be able to hopefully find a fish. You know, if laydowns is on, you've got plenty of laydowns. If we go up here and we look at maybe down in here where we got some structure that's here, let's zoom in here. Now right here, you can't really tell that there's anything there, but if I move the water down, hopefully it starts uncovering some stuff for us. You can see here there's definitely some concrete or something, some kind of structure, really good looking off the edge of that point. And so we're gonna mark all those things as we went through here. You've got some couple humps that are back here too. Looks like there's a little hump that's back here. That could be a really good spot, you know, especially as they're moving in and out for them to set up and stage at. So that could be a really good good area to look. But again, just throughout the lake, you know, we've got all the brush piles marked and things like that. But if I'm giving you just tips on where to fish, I'd say take a look at the ponds as well. If you can find those old ponds, let's see if we can zoom in here and find one. If you can find these old ponds, they can be really good. Now, I'm not saying go out and fish in the middle of them, but if you go up and fish in the entryways, like right in here on this entryway, those can be really, really high percentage areas. Now that pond's not probably as good as some of the ponds that you'll see on some of these other ones, but some of the other ones have some really good pond dams that you can fish around. So you definitely want to go and find those ponds, find the entryways right in here, and that's where you're going to find the majority of your fish are going to be on the entryway or on the insides or the outsides of the dams. So sometimes you'll find these ponds that are completely submerged, right? When the water's up, you won't even know that it's there. In that case, you got to fish both sides of that dam for sure. But always fish that little entryway, because that little entryway can be money and save you a lot of time from having to fish that whole entire area. Last thing I want to talk about here is just the hard spots. You're going to notice a couple different hard spots that we've marked. Well, more than a couple. There's several out here, but a couple different areas where we've marked hard spots. Pay attention to those areas. Those are really good areas. They're hard spots for a reason, and they stick out. And the other thing, I think I even mentioned this maybe on a different video when we were talking about Beaver Lake, is anytime you see where we've marked those hard spots, you can typically find a transition area really close to it. So you'll find the hard spot, so you'll zoom in, and then you'll realize that the land around it is different, right? So there's, like, let's say in here, this is kind of a tough one, but even in this one with the water being up, you can already kind of see it. You've got a hard spot right in here, and then you've got your transitions, which are right here. It goes to sandy, and right over here past this little slab, it starts getting sandy too. The transitions from that hard spot, which this is a tough one when we're looking at, there's some other ones that probably be a lot better, but the transition from that over to that sandy area, it creates almost a line on that transition, and fishing on that transition can be very productive sometimes. So definitely some good stuff there. This lake's got all kinds of man-made structure to look at, brush piles. We marked all the brush piles we could find around all the docks. Those are awesome too. So you definitely want to take a look at those. All right, now let's take this off. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the offshore stuff. Just really, really quick, I just want to show you all of the offshore stuff that we have on this lake. Now, it's not going to make any sense here at all, because when I click this, it's just going to pop up a bunch of fish, and you're not going to tell because we don't have the contours out here on Google Earth to see it. But again, what we've done is we've gone out and we pulled up the contours, and then based on those contours, whether it be a point, a ledge, a hump, I mean, basically, they're big flats, long extended points, all the things that you would think of that are high percentage areas from offshore. We've already went out and marked those for you and put those on here. So here's all the offshore stuff we've marked. You can tell there's a ton, and that's just on the north side, right? If we go out and we take a look at the south side, it's the same type thing. And then we can go out and we can also look at the west side, and we'll get the same type of result from the west side. So lots of good offshore stuff there. And then really to wrap it up, we've got ramps galore, right? This lake has a ton of ramps. We almost thought about maybe not even including the ramps because there were so many of them, but that boat ramp pattern can actually be a pattern that you can run. Now, I'm not sure how well it would work when you have all this rock around you, but definitely in the lakes where you have kind of the dirtier, muddier bottoms, which this one does not have. This is more of a rocky bottom. But in that case, you don't have as much rock, and these hard areas, such as these ramps, really attract fish. Now, the ramps will get algae on them and stuff like that, which will attract the little tiny, tiny, tiny fish, and then those will attract the bigger bait fish, and then eventually you get up to your bass. So I'm going to leave them on here, but we don't really need to go through. But we've marked all of the different ramps and slabs that are on this lake, and there are thousands. You can see here, that was just the south section, or that was just the west section. This is the south section. You can see there's a ton there. And then when we go up to the north section, kind of the same thing. They're just everywhere. The other good thing is if you had this and you were out on the lake and you had an emergency, you're going to know where the closest ramp is to you for sure. And then last but not least, the last thing I want to talk to you about are the rocks. So we've marked all the different areas where we found rock. Now, yes, this lake has a ton of rock. So what we try to do is really mark the key areas of where there would be rock to fish around, right? So, and there's a lot of it. So you can see we've marked a ton of it here. We've marked a ton of it there as well and a ton of it there. So if you're looking for rock on this lake, you're set up, you got it. It's pretty much all around you. You don't have to go very far and you're gonna find some rocky areas, do your crankbait and all that good stuff. So guys, that wraps it up for Lake of the Ozarks. You'll notice out on our website, if you go out there, simplisticfishing.com, we've got this broken down into 3 different sections. Again, north, south, and west. We do have to load those in differently into the graph because the graphs will get overloaded with waypoints. So you got to do them by section, unfortunately, but you've got them out there. But if you don't want to do that, you can always just go out, download the Simplistic Fishing app. You can get this entire lake for $9.99 for 30 days access. And then if you want to renew it, you just renew it the next 30 days and you can keep it going. That's going to give you filters, allow you to favorite waypoints, save waypoints, look at community waypoints, gives you all the weather, gives you all the good stuff for a very, very cheap price. Or you can get the entire region for $19.99 a month. So totally up to you, but go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. It also has a 3-day free trial out there that you can check out. Anyways, guys, until next time, I hope you catch your PB. I hope this really helped you guys kind of get a good understanding of what's out there on Lake of the Ozarks and all the amazing fishing opportunities that are out there for you. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.